We're having too much fun, and you really needed to be here during this last commercial break because I was entertained. Lovely singing job by the guys from KMOJ's Bad Boy.
We won't sing that song, though.
No, we can't sing that song. Let's go back to a serious topic. We're going to talk about, for a few minutes before the end of the show, about crossing over into a major market. We have had some discussions before the show, and Paris, you were telling me that it's really difficult for an African American to cross over into a major market in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Tell me about that and why it is that way.
Well, I put it like this. I did an intern at another radio station. I was at WRNB, Cable's Digital FM, when I first actually got into radio, and then I went to KMOJ. It was my first FM gig, but I was already on radio through cable. Now, these are two black radio stations, urban radio stations, and when you're trying, your quality of sound, it's all about your quality of sound, how you articulate, how you talk, and if you're not sounding like the
today's best music.
If you're not sounding like that, if you're not sounding like today's best music in this market,
Casey.
Right. If you're not sounding like that in this market, the 14th largest market in America, you're pretty much stuck here. And you can't do anything about it because they're looking for quality of sound. Today's best music is through Chancellor Media. And what they do, Chancellor Media owns thousands of radio stations. What they do, they pull within. So why should they ever go outside of their corporation to find someone else?
Young,
and why would they
drive time teams such as
why
ourselves?
would they ever give you a chance? Why would they ever give you a chance, and why should they have to? As long as they have their team set, and as long as they have all of their people within that media, they forget about people like Paris Tyler, Debonair, Shock D, Otis the Entertaining Artist, Linda K. Morgan, Ruby Brown. They forget about all of the people here in the Twin Cities that make that urban connection. So when you're doing today's best music...
Today's best music!
On cue. When you're doing...
Today's best music!
Right. When you're doing that, and you're sounding like...
Today's best music!
I love it. I love it. When you're sounding like that, you lose identity. Why should I ever have to lose my identity and cross over to someone else when I already sound good and people love me for who I am? So I'm already articulate, I'm already doing this, I'm already in it, and I can't get a job in my own market, and every time I try to pull toward that situation, they shut you down. Now,
message.
I was doing I was doing an intern at
Today's best music.
And I do have the inside track. I do have the inside track on Today's Best Music. Now, I mean, not necessarily to jump on them like that. This is not to jump on them. They are a beautiful organization. They're lovely. But at the same time, they will not go outside that organization. One of their announcers over there, he does the nighttime job, and he's urban, he's black, and this is not him being at anything. Am I trying to say that he's a token? He's good. He's been in radio for 10 years, but he had to cross over to that top 40 style. Right. And I'm not saying he forgot identity, but he's a team player now. I don't want to do that. I want to stand out. I want to be a part of a team where we can show and glow and shine, and we set the trend for the younger generation. We don't have to sound like the Tom Joyners and the Doug Banks and the Rick Pardys. We can sound like us, and people can pattern themselves after us. I'm not patterning myself after anyone else. Right. You know, even though that's who our heroes are. You have to be unique, and they don't allow you to do that in Minnesota. Right. You know.
What is it going to take for us to get a major urban radio station here?
First of all, and foremost, now I'm looking at the camera, we need black urban artists to represent with KMOJ.
For example?
On a weekly basis, a major pop artist will come in town, won't even think about stopping into KMOJ, but it'll be on from 9 till 12 at...
Today's best music!
Will not get a call, will not even get a CD. And that's some of the things that happen. But yet and still, we're the jocks that are playing their record 4 or 5 times every day. And we're the jocks who read every story about them, whether it's positive or negative, getting their name out there. And we're also the jocks that try to break our neck to meet these people, but yet and still, they can't support us.
And as someone said to me, not to cut you off, sorry, we make them hits before Today's Best Music decides to play them. We pump that up and it reaches Billboard's numbers.
You're supposed to point at us.
Then, I'm sorry.
Today's best music.
He's just a little bit off. We make those hits, so while we're pumping it, and as it's slowly climbing up the chart, that other station is watching, then they start playing it.
Right.
Well, I was just going to say, just real quick before we talk about your community involvement, Paris, you were telling me that, you know, sometimes the other, I'm not going to say it, those other radio stations.
Today's best music. I'm ready to go.
They've like heard what you guys do on your show, and then you can tune into them and you hear your stuff on
Today's best music.
Right.
Well, I put it like this.
Is that a compliment or is it an insult?
I think it's a compliment, but at the same time, I think that radio patterns itself. Anything that we've ever done has already been done before in a different form or fashion at a different radio station, whether it was country, whether it was hard rock, metal, I don't care what it was. Anything that we've ever done is repetitive, but when you're the only African American radio station on the Twin Cities dial and the 14th largest market, people tend to copy and they tend to pattern. Now, I'm not saying they do that, but I am saying that it has shown it. Yeah, exactly.
They have been watching on the web and listening, and they have called in to make certain pranks on other shows, and then we've heard certain things that we've done on our show on that other station.
Yeah. We only have just a few minutes left in the show, and I want to talk about your food drop, the food drive, the first annual doorstep.
The first annual Bad Boys Doorstep Drive.
Tell
what
me
that is, that was something that I came up with about a year ago. It was going to be called Debonair's Doorstep when I was working during comedy. But since I'm part of a team now, it can't just be called that. It's got to be.
And the information is right up on the screen right now. For further information, call 869-7300. Go ahead, Debonair.
They can contact me for that information. Club Elegant is one of our drop-off spots every Friday during the month of December. Club Voluptuous, Human Resource Staffing Services, Northside Neighborhood Housing Services. We got people like the Riverview Supper Club working with us, Flight Communications, Diamond Communications. Those are places that are going to be working with us to help. We call it a doorstep because it's not a regular Toys for Tots or a coat drive. We want the people to feel like they can drop off whatever they want to give, be it a new coat, new clothes, new shoes, canned goods, any of that. Drop that off at any of those doorstep sites. And then we will get that out and distribute that out through the community so we can see firsthand who gets these things. So we want to make some Christmases a little bit brighter.
Somebody's Santa Claus.
As we were talking during the break, Santa was not always coming in my hood.
Come to the hood.
Santa didn't show up at my place all the time. I had some great Christmases, and then I had some, and I said Christmases, that's not a word I know, but then I had some that were not so great, and I remember what that's like. I just want to make sure I do my part, being a personality in the Twin Cities, a promoter and all of that. I want to do my part.
Once again, we just got 2 minutes left in the show, and I want to ask you guys one quick question before we end the show. Real quick, 869-7300 is where you can reach Debonair for information about the first annual Bad Boys Doorstep Drive. Bad Boys, KMOJ, Monday and Tuesdays, 2 to 6 p.m. Make sure you tune in. One quick question for all of you. I want you guys to fill in the blanks. Paris, starting with you. 5 years ago, Paris Tyler was?
5 years ago. 5 years ago, Paris Tyler was sitting back wondering what he was going to do. He was determined, but he had come from a kind of a broken home. And my message to people is that you can do it too. I mean, you can become something, you can be somebody. Don't give up on your dreams. I know that's a universal answer, but it really takes struggle. Without struggle, no progress.
Debonair?
5 years ago, Debonair was a cook on a boat called the Spirit of Chicago. And real quick, I want to say thanks to Sarah down at South Beach. They're going to participate as well in the Doorstep Drive.
Okay.
Thank you.
5 years ago, I was lost and confused. And now I've been found with the Bad Boys.
Oh my goodness.
Bad boys do bad things.
Bad boys do bad things.
Bad Boys look great, by the way, and I hope that you've all enjoyed meeting and getting to know the Bad Boys as much as I have spending time with them in the last couple of months. Make sure you tune into their show Monday, Tuesdays, KMOJ Radio, 2 to 6 p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great holiday season, and we'll see you next time.